Good afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with a Simpler Stocks free video for April 1st, 2016. It's like 10 minutes after the close, as you see there. Today was really pretty much a non-event. Basically, what we got today was what we were talking about on the Simpler Stocks premium side. Is we got a rotation, so you got a little weakness in the Googles of the world, and that's why you see over here the NASDAQ down 5. You have the ESs down 2, and you have the Russell, which is composed of a lot of growth stocks and drug stocks that underperformed this quarter. They outperformed. Usually what you get at the end of the quarter, you get the laggards get bought by hedge funds, and you get the winners be sold. Now you might say, well, I thought they want to show that these stocks are in their portfolio. Usually what happens is they try to raise funds at the end of the month for redemptions. And so a lot of times they sell the leaders and buy the dogs, just so they have a little extra money in there to handle redemptions. Then what happens is a lot of times you get the beginning of the month jumper trade on April 1st. The reason that the April 1st one isn't as dramatic is because usually they're like buybacks. So just to let you know on how that works. So today what we got in here, you got the bonds up a point. Now why were bonds up a point? For an interesting reason. The bonds were up a point because the DBA, the commodity basket, got trashed today because Beeks, if you remember that from Trading Places, but Beeks must have known about the crop report. It came out much worse than expected. So if you want to link this, check out corn. Check that out, down $14. Same with wheat, just got, well, it came back. I didn't know wheat actually came back. Let me go back to this and look. Well, it came back a lot, but it was more the corn that we were watching. And when the corn sold off, it took down, believe it or not, Deere, Potash, AGU. It took down a lot of those. Now, let me just tell you something. Now that I know this in wheat that it held up that well with a bad report, even though the crop report was more affected corn, it's just something I'm going to be watching. But the whole idea in here is when you see this on the left, and you see the DBA on the right, which is a basket of 10 of the commodities going down, that's good for bonds. Bonds hate inflation. So the whole idea is the bond market did this. Had a nice little rally up a point. You have a squeeze in there. Very important to watch that. So I'm going to be watching that like a hawk. And, so that's one thing I'm definitely going to be watching. Now, what's funny is there are a lot of people that say, oh, bonds in the market go opposite. That's absolutely not true. The whole idea is if you put the ESs in here over a long period of time, put in a weekly chart. Now put in a weekly chart of the bonds. Notice something about this. That when the bonds were going up in 2014 straight up, so was the market. Why is that? Because if yields go down, there isn't anywhere else to put your money except in the stock market. That's why that whole thing is saying, well, if bonds rally, means something must be going on in the overall market. It has to sell off. Don't believe that. Just go on charts and go on advanced decline and things like that. Is the thing with the bonds doesn't always work. I just want you to know that. So what do I think now with the market? This is the thing. We got the big rotation today. So a lot of times that gets unwound the next day. What do I mean by that? Check out some of the stocks like Apple and watch how it sold off today at the last part of the day and really all day. Then on the right, put BioMarin, a drug stock that's gotten bashed all year, and notice what it did today. Straight up 5 points today. So look at this on how much it's gone down since January 1st. And today it had a big rally. And now look at Apple, which is up a bit from January 1st. Let me show you. Apple was right there. So it's about 6 points higher. So Apple was one of the leaders, believe it or not, because this is a real muted quarter. And look what this did. Let's put it back up. 15-minute chart. 15-minute chart. Apple closes on its low for the day. BioMarin closes almost on its high. So there was a big rotation from the good stocks to the bios. And the whole idea is because there's so many bios in the Russell, that's why the Russell outperformed. Now, what we're going to be watching in here is this. Number one, there's stocks like BioMarin on the right that I'm going to be real interested in watching this trend line to see if it can get above there. This is one of those stocks that once it gets going, really goes. On the way down, it went from 105 to 65 in about a month. So this stock can have drastic moves one way or the other. I'm going to see on how it handles this overbought condition on a 78-minute. The whole idea is if it can hold it and do a weak sell-off like consolidate, that might be a great candidate to buy next week. But the other thing I'm going to be watching is this. On the longer term perspective, I'm going to look at the ESs, which are still at resistance, but it's still over every moving average. You got to be real careful in that. Other thing I'm going to watch is what I've been talking about with the TFs. This is the Russell. Russell had this big move 2 days ago and has consolidated the gains. It's not that overbought. If it can hold right here, it could go right to 1150. That's been the worst performing index in the last year. So that's definitely something I'm going to be watching like a hawk in here. Last thing I'm going to be watching in here is the transports. Transports have had a heck of a year also, and sure enough, they were sold today because they sold the leaders. But now we're up against this resistance here. I'm very curious to see what the next leg. Is it going to have one more leg up because you see it's getting oversold? Or now is it just going to roll over and die? Can't tell yet. That's why you wait for more triggers than that. And right now we're at a time where you don't have any that you have to just jump and anticipate. Never anticipate. Here's a 78-minute chart of the transports. I see this line right here, no doubt about it, and I'm going to be watching that. So just so you know, we have the $7 30-day trial still, and we've had thousands of people sign up for that, just so you know. Let me just show you that this is just, I like visual. And right here, you have $7 for 30 days. And basically, you get a chat room in the morning. Just so you know, I've been getting on the chat a lot more during the day. So twice this week, I did 9:30 to 10 right after the opening. I got in about 5 minutes before that so we could, look at things right before the opening. And I did a live chat for a half hour twice. And I did on the close from 3:30 to 4 Eastern, I did twice. We also had a free seminar this week on bull and bear flags where I was going to talk for 15 minutes and we went on for an hour. So just so you know, that's included in your $7 trial. And so every month, we only have one tier. So if you then take us up on doing a monthly, it's $79 for everything. We made it simple. We don't have any other tiers, at least not now. So once you do the premium, for $7, after a month it's $79 and that's it. So no extra charges. So I hope you can take us up on this offer. Tomorrow the video will be over the weekend. I'll probably put it on Sunday night. I have some traveling and family matters to attend to. And then I'm going to be back on the live chat and everything Monday morning. So everybody take care. Have a great weekend.